Hi everyone, and welcome back to another year of summer reading crafts. Today, for our first craft for summer reading, we're going to be Mod Podging pictures onto wooden blocks. Now for this craft, everybody's going to get a little wooden disc, a little jar of Mod Podge, and a paintbrush, and you can choose a picture. We'll give you one, or you can choose your own. The only thing you want to keep in mind when you're doing these is to do copies of pictures on regular paper so that they come off easier when we're doing this. So what it's going to look like when you're finished is like this. So let's get started. So first thing you want to do, you want to pick your picture. We're going to start today with Aquaman because I thought he would be nice and bright for what we're going for. Might show up a little bit better than the Gotham City Sirens did. Now for this one, I went ahead and painted the edges of my wooden disc. You want to do that before you Mod Podge if you're going to do it this way. So just to make sure we get Jason Momoa good and centered, I'm going to put the wooden block down first, and you can either trace it or you can just do like I'm doing and bend the edges up around it so you'll know where to cut it. So I'm going to just trim off what's not going to go onto the wooden block. So I'll have a little picture left. Now for this way, we're going to show you two different ways today. This way we're going to cover the front of the picture with Mod Podge first. So just take your paintbrush and put a nice generous helping of Mod Podge on the front. Now you want to put something down to protect your workspace. I prefer wax paper, but just, anything, newspaper or a little piece of scrap paper like I've got today will work too. So we're just gonna liberally cover that in Mod Podge. About like this. So once you've got that done, you want to just try to center it on your wooden block, about like that, and it's okay if you've got a little overhang. So then once you've got it like that, you want to take something like preferably like a little credit card or a ruler, but I forgot to bring those down here today. So we're just going to take our scissors and very gently press from the center out to get out any air bubbles and to press the picture into our block of wood. So just start from the center and really gently because you don't want to rip that paper. So then you want to leave that to set for 24 hours. And after that 24 hours is up, what you're going to do is take that, we've got a example I started yesterday, and you're going to take a wet cloth and just put it over the back of your piece of Mod Podged wood and just leave it soaking for about 5 minutes. You don't want your cloth too wet because then that can warp your block of wood. But if you don't have it damp enough, you'll get a situation like I've got right now where it's not quite ready yet. So we'll come back as soon as that's ready to go. Okay, so once 24 hours has passed and you've gotten your block of wood soaked, you're going to take either your finger and some water or your damp piece of towel or whatever, and just start very gently rubbing the paper off of your wooden block. And if you find it starts to clump up, you can take it and rinse it off in the sink or a bowl of water, or you can but you want to be very gentle with it so you don't risk peeling off too much and taking all your color off with it. So see, it's starting to come off, and you just want to keep going until you've got everything off of there. Okay, and it does take a little while to rub all of that paper off, but once you do, it looks super cool. And now the thing with this is if you want your picture to be a little more opaque, a little more faded, make it look aged, you want to use the matte Mod Podge, which is what we've got here. But if you want it to be more pronounced, not as transparent, use the satin or gloss finish Mod Podge. Both will work. It's just depending on how you want the picture to look. And if brighter the color, the better it's going to turn out. So once you've gotten all the paper off and you let it dry for a little while, to finish it up, what you want to do is take some more of your Mod Podge and just very thin layers this time. And you want to go around the sides a little bit too, just to help it be sealed in really well. And I would recommend at least 3 layers. You can do up to 4 or 5 this way, just like this. But let it dry at a minimum of 30 minutes between each layer of your Mod Podge, just to really seal that picture on there. And then, just as a recommendation, let it sit somewhere safe for about a week or 2, just to give the Mod Podge time to cure. And then that's all there is to it for that one. So for the next way we can do it, what we're gonna do, and I've got another disc here, and I painted this one as well. We're gonna take Batman here and do basically the same thing. Just measure how much we actually need on the block of wood. And if you're concerned, you can always trace it, or this is my other way to make sure I'm not cutting too much off, is just cut right around very gently. Be careful, cut around the block of wood. So, and that way you have it just about perfectly to size. If it's a little bit over, again, that's not a big deal because we're going to Mod Podge around the edges anyway to really seal it. But for this technique, what we're going to do is put a thin layer of Mod Podge directly onto the wooden block itself. And again, this is a messy project no matter how you're doing it, so you do want to keep something down on your workspace to catch all the glue. So you've got your thin layer of Mod Podge, and you're just going to put your picture right on top of it and just smooth it out with your finger. And make sure there are no air bubbles trapped under there. And there you have that face up. This way, we're not taking the picture off. This one takes a little bit longer than the other way, because that way you can kind of just, you know, leave it and forget it for a while. This way, we're going directly into putting another layer of Mod Podge on it. So we're going to put just a thin layer of Mod Podge over top of the picture. And again, you want to kind of do around the sides just to really seal it in there. If your picture, if you cut it a little too big, just press it down and it'll end up sealing. If you're looking at this right now and thinking that is, you know, a lot of Mod Podge and, you know, the picture's not going to show through, don't worry. When it dries, it becomes invisible. So you just want to get that all the way around like that, and on the sides. And last thing to start off, we're going to, where our little hole is, we're going to take our paintbrush and just stab it through there, so you don't have to worry about that becoming too hard to open back up after you put the Mod Podge on it. And then you just let that dry for, like I said, a minimum of 30 minutes. And do another layer. I recommend between 4 to 5 layers, and then letting it cure for 2 weeks. And it's ready to go. You can use it as jewelry, you can use it as an ornament, you can use it as a wall hanging, you can use it for anything you want. And that's how we Mod Podge a picture to a block of wood. Thank you for joining us, and please join us next time.